Hello everyone, welcome back to some League of Legends DFS esports breakdown for February the 4th, the 5th slate. Pretty cool 5 gamer here today. We'll go ahead and quickly jump through the recap before we go on to tomorrow. So yesterday was one of the most tilting days I've ever seen, frankly. In the LPL we went 1 for 3, but if you guys saw these WE OMG games, WE really should have won both of these. I don't even. I feel bad just re-bringing it up. I still cannot believe how WE lost both of these games. They should have easily 2-0'd here. Um, Again, the problems I brought up with IG did come up to fruition. You know, they did look a little bit human yesterday. Obviously, BLG did end up taking game 3 over Weibo. So we did get that upset at the end to at least claw some money back. That actually ended up making it, oddly enough, a profitable day for me. Just because after the WE fiasco, I just bet even more on BLG because I was mad, frankly. Bad practices, but worked out today. Over in the LCK, we had T1 take the T1 over Dongshim, then Hanwha DRX. Again, I messed up the video yesterday. I did not end up talking about Hanwha DRX. It was not a series I was ever really going to get into either way, but you know, it is what it is. We go ahead and quickly kind of segue this. I want to keep the video super short today just because it is coming out super late, and you know, I don't want to ramble on too much. I already touched on KT Bro yesterday. I do think this is still kind of oddly priced in my opinion. When we do look at this KT roster team, I don't think that they're that special. I feel like this is actually a very close matchup, and I'm honestly pretty shocked by Fred Brion being a plus 170 favorite, or sorry, underdog. I think this is like a 50-50, maybe KT like slightly favored, like minus 125 or something. Like, I do not agree with them being minus 225. This seems like a wild price in my opinion. I think this is a very close series. I mean, I might eat these words. I feel like every time I've had a pretty conviction take, it's come back to haunt me, but that's kind of been the difference maker this year. I think usually when I have these super strong opinions, they end up being pretty strong, performing, but lately it hasn't been like that. But you know, I'm not gonna stop shooting, I guess you could say. So I'm gonna go with Fred Brion. Probably not so much in DFS, maybe a small sprinkle, but I don't love the series. But moneyline betting more so, I do like Fred Brion a good bit. Damwon versus Guangdong, don't like this really at all. We saw KDF come to life last series, but I don't expect that to continue. Especially versus Damwon, I feel like this is probably just a swift 2-0. I do like the Damwon team slot, but who doesn't here? You could maybe make a case to get to the Damwon 2-0. They're often a little bit overlooked. I feel like these gigantic favorites are usually like a little bit left off, especially in some of the other in some of the like more tournament oriented contests. I would not be afraid to get to Dom1 here, but again, I just cannot get anything right in the LCK right now, so who knows? This is probably just going to be another KDF sweep the way things are going for me, but you know, we move on. Probably Dom1 2-0. I'm not afraid of that series really at all. We looked at some of the KDF losses earlier on, and they actually give up like a decent amount. I'd expect that one to be like 15 or 20% owned, and I think that's a number I'm willing to bite into. Over in the LPL, the first matchup is TES versus NIP. NIP going with Invincible back in the top lane. I don't really love this series. I think it's okay if you want to get to the top esports side. I don't personally love the NIP side really either. This series is probably is kind of as close to a stay away as you can get in the LPL. Very rarely do I look to stay away from the LPL games, especially ones like this. I don't know, just NIP just have been kind of like all across the board, like getting swept by JDGs, whatever. Getting swept by RA is one thing though, and their only win is over Ultra Prime. We know how I feel about Ultra Prime. Top esports are probably the fourth best team in the league or so. Like they're very strong. I just don't love getting to them. I just feel like they are kind of all over the place. I don't love them. They're probably going to be one of the more popular teams, especially when you look at the players like Rookie and Jackie Love, of course. I think they're fine. There's just other options I'd rather get to, honestly. Other series I'd like to get involved in. But nonetheless, I think it's fine to go with TES here. RA versus LNG. This one is actually pretty interesting from both aspects. I think this is like a secretly like kind of okay spot, or like kind of like action-packed spot, I guess you could say. So RA so far, they 2-1 to LGD, they 2-0 to NIP, then they got swept by TES. I think that puts them like about lower middle, maybe middle of the pack-ish. I think that's actually like a fair assessment of where LNG is. I feel like LNG is getting a little bit too much hype and love here. They're going to be one of the teams I think I'm going to be like fading, I guess, a little bit going forward. I'm not quite buying into the name value that they have on some of these players. Like, I do think Tarzan and Scout obviously are pretty strong players, especially Scout is a very strong individual player. But I feel like they're getting a little bit too much credit here. I think the series is actually like relatively close. I think LNG should be a slight favorite, but not minus 235. I do like going with the RA side here. RA is typically a team I don't love involving myself with, but I think when the spot presents itself, it's definitely fine to go to. Especially the LNG bottom lane has been pretty suspect in my opinion. I don't love LP. I feel like he's been making pretty crucial mistakes. I don't love that option there. I just feel like this is actually a pretty close series, and I'm going to be taking the plus 171 side of what I think should be like a little bit closer. The last one up, EDG RNG. RNG still having their mid lane kind of issues. They are going with Tangyuan. They did swap in Angel last time out, so we know he's there and like ready to play. I guess they're thinking he's not quite ready to start yet. But then they have, Breathe, Wei, Gala, Ming. They do have Ming coming in, of course, over Bunny, so they are getting almost the whole band back together. I don't get this price. I truly don't. I don't buy into this EDG team. I really don't. They're again like it's weird. Like they've been okay. I mean I don't think they should be favored here. I truly don't. I was honestly pretty surprised by these odds. Like, yeah, RNG have not been playing well, but they've been swapping their mid laner out. They bringing in Ming now. Again, they're maybe not quite fully acclimated, but it's not like the whole team changed. Like, it's still Breathe, Wei, Gala, and Ming. Like, it's still the four-man that was all playing last year. Of course, they go from Xiaohu to Tangyuan, but I think that's fine. I think this is definitely an RNG side for me. I don't really understand these odds. I feel like RNG should be the favorite. I really do. I'm not seeing what is inspiring people or inspiring the odds to shift on this EDG side. I feel like RNG should legitimately be like the small favorite here. So I'm going to be going with RNG pretty heavily. I do like them a good bit. They are probably going to be like my big favorite, like kind of underdog to go to. Mix and match them maybe with double dog them up with RA, maybe get some of the Dom one side. And just because I do have two LPL underdogs, I don't love getting to Fred Brion, but that's just kind of the way the cookie crumb rolls. Maybe I'll get some of the top esports mix in there as well. But I like leaving top esports off and going with the Dom one side. I think that could be a little bit more of a lesser owned option in what's like a relatively similar build. I feel like that makes sense, but again, I don't think you're crazy to go with the top esports side either. That's just the direction I like to go. I think the interesting thing you could go with, I think, is going with Tangyuan. I think people are going to definitely be scared to go with Tangyuan just because last series he did end up getting subbed out for Angel. But if you wanted to go that direction, I think he will be the one left off of the RNG stacks. And I think if they do end up getting a 2-0, I highly doubt Tangyuan is one subbed out. And he is a relatively supportive, rack up the assists type of mid laner. I think that could definitely be enough in what could be a pretty action-packed game. So I do like getting Tangyuan in these lineups and mixing him in. Obviously, it's not safe at all. We do have the substitute ability from RNG to go with Angel here, like they did last time. But for what I'm leaning towards, I do like going RNG. I do like getting Tangyuan in there as well to get a little bit unique. When it comes to like what series I'm targeting, I think EDG, RNG, RA, LNG, then probably top esports NIP, and then probably D+, KDF, and then probably KT Brion. So like just a reverse sweep of down to up, what we're looking at here. That's probably how I would view these. So that's how I'm going. Again, my thought process is I think RNG, RA, and Dom1 are like my key pieces. Maybe mix and match some top esports, maybe mix and match some Fred Brion in there as well, but pretty unlikely for me in my POV, but that's the direction I'm going. Probably not going to talk about players today, just don't really have the time. So if you guys want, you could definitely look up the player stats so far. There's nothing too interesting, I think, in diversity here. Obviously, I think Breathe is pretty solid for top lane. I think Cube is pretty solid for top lane as well. I think those are both pretty solid top lane options. So that's really the only position that you need to kind of think about. Everything else is pretty similar between jungle, mid AD, and support. It's just how involved the top laners is really, I think, mostly what what you need to look out for. So I think that's it from me tonight. Again, sorry about the speed run of a video, but hopefully you guys could still gather all the info and stuff that you need. So that will be it for me tonight. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow. I believe after the 5-game slates are over, we go to the 2-gamers. We have a small 2-gamers break for a couple days. So hopefully we can get everything figured out, get everything out earlier on the bounce back in a couple days. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys where I see you.